Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a reading vlog for Memoirs. So I'm going to be reading Memoirs for a week-ish. I say week-ish because it took me about a week and a half to read this, but saying reading Memoirs for a week sounds better, so that's going to be the title of this video. But anyway, so the two memoirs that I'm going to be reading this week-ish are Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton and The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Both of these books were pretty popular in 2023. This one in particular for just women in their early 20s, and then this one in particular because it's Britney Spears, you know, pop culture icon. I'm super excited to read these two books. And by super excited to read them, I mean I'm filming this after I already read them, but you guys are gonna see me reading them, my reactions, my thoughts throughout this entire video. So I really appreciate you guys being here, and let's get into it. The writing style of this is really fun and easy to read. I think it also, just like her recounting her thoughts as like a teenager, is also really funny and comical. I'm already having a good time, and I'm only on page 6. Hello friends, I am now about 50% of the way through the book, and here are my thoughts so far. And sorry about the lighting situation, it probably looks a little weird, and if you could hear the washing machine in the background, I'm sorry about that too. I'm doing laundry. But anyway, I honestly have such mixed feelings so far about this book. It is definitely really funny. Like, I have found myself just laughing at like some of the things that she says, and like her life experiences are like so different from what I've experienced, and just like crazy and spontaneous, and like wow, like it amazes me how different people's lives can be in terms of like, I guess, people within a similar life trajectory as mine, in terms of someone who went to college and is around the same age as me, like a young woman in her early 20s. She has gone through quite a lot, and she is quite the spontaneous person. But I feel like what I have not loved about the book, and is definitely something that I can tell that she recognizes as one of her own flaws and is definitely purposeful in the book, is just how resentful she was towards her friends in certain points of her life for finding some stability. And that is definitely the purpose. Like, she is trying to portray herself feeling jealous and just like angry at herself for not realizing she is the problem, and she needs to push herself towards some stability. I think the amount of time that she portrays those feelings in the book is just like kind of a lot, and makes me like a little just like annoyed in a way. But that's definitely how you're supposed to feel. So like, I don't know, I'm like, is it really good because it makes me feel this way, and like kind of makes me annoyed that she like felt this way, or is it like me just being closed-minded? But anyway, I do like the fact that it makes me think, because I was actually like discussing this exact point with my roommate and one of my best friends, Ashley, yesterday. And we were like, I feel like just talking about it out loud makes me realize like, okay, this is purposeful, and she now recognizes that that was toxic of her in a way. But yeah, I think that's how I feel so far. But I definitely think the last half of the book, she's gonna pull that together and realize, like, and say that she was in the wrong, you know? But anyway, I'm sorry, Iris is barking. But it also makes me feel really grateful for how, I guess, stable my life has been. And I mean, I've always been incredibly grateful for how stable I feel like my life has been, especially in my early 20s. But it definitely makes me realize that even more so, because people's lives are so different. And some people are just way more spontaneous than I am. I'm just not a spontaneous person. I do have to say that. I love planning. I love stability. I love making rational decisions. But not everyone's like that. I guess talking about it a bit more out loud, as I was saying before, I do think that this is good and it will get better. So I'm gonna keep reading. I just read a long chapter of a really impactful life event happened when she was young, involving someone she really cared about. And this is such a minute detail, but I just think it's so crazy and amazing that us as humans, if there's a like very significant event that happened in our lives, whether it's good, whether it's bad, just like significant, how much detail we can remember from that moment, no matter how long ago it was. Because what she just went through, I think she was like 25. I imagine she's much older than that now, probably like 30, 35 maybe or something. I'm not sure. But there are so many conversations that happened during that time. And even just any time, like all the random conversations that she keeps bringing up and things that people say. And obviously, we probably don't remember those things exactly. And some of that is probably just like fill in the blanks for her and what she chooses to write. But at the same time, it's like so amazing that humans have the capability to remember the things that people say. That is so random, but I was kind of like blown away by a speech that she wrote that someone had said however many years ago. So just had to say that. Okay. Going back, I'm speaking really quietly because it's almost midnight and my roommates are asleep. But going back to my previous point about how I feel like I was kind of getting a little frustrated with everything that was going on, and I felt like obviously it was kind of purposeful because that was her portraying, like, I guess also her frustration with herself, the decisions she made and the things that she was prioritizing in life. And right now she is kind of talking to someone about how she feels and is now becoming like self-aware of like everything that she believes is like, I guess, making her spiral in her life. It's actually so crazy how like you don't realize what you're going through or like how you feel, like what you're thinking, until you talk to someone about it. Because I feel like I have that experience so much where it's like I never realize like if I'm feeling any sort of way until I like tell someone about those feelings, and then I really start thinking, because I feel like I'm constantly distracting myself in my life, and not that my life is bad and I need distraction from anything crazy. Like, I'm very grateful that my life is very stable, but I just never take the time to think because I'm always busy with stuff, and I'm trying to keep myself busy. So yeah, that's crazy. Okay. I just I am like 30 pages away from finishing this book, and I am now on one of the last few chapters where she talks about all the lessons that she's learned about love, but now that she's 30. And you see the progression from when she was like in her 20s to, or I guess when she is starting, when she was like 15 or 16 or something. And I feel like hearing this from a 30-year-old and her just being blunt at this point is like definitely what people need to hear, especially coming from someone who basically in this entire memoir explained like how many times she messed up, like all the ways that she wronged herself, wronged other people, and like all the lessons that she's learned. And I can really respect that because I know where she's coming from, you know, like I know that she learned these lessons the hard way rather than just like, oh, this is what I think I know, you know. So I really like that about like the ending. So I'm gonna keep reading them. I have officially finished All the Things I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I guess me at first not fully understanding the purpose of some of these chapters, but as it went along, obviously this was definitely the intention, but as it went along, you start realizing more and more how she comes to the conclusions of these thoughts and lessons that we take from her and that she's giving us because of what she's been through. And I feel like there are two main things that I took away from this book. One is that you cannot love someone enough to make them love themselves. And no amount of male attention, male validation, love from a man or partner in a relationship will make you love yourself. And therefore, you need to work on yourself and making sure you love yourself and are in a good space in your life. Getting there is hard. A lot of people need therapy for that. So if you are willing and able, go to therapy. That's a really big lesson in this book. So that is one of the main things that I took away. And also, you always have your friends and those who you have mostly platonic relationships with to fall back on, because platonic relationships are ones that don't really face as many ups and downs as romantic relationships. And so if things don't work out, you know, you luckily, hopefully for the most part, have your friends to fall back on, and those are the people who you share the most love with in your life and who will always be there for you. And that's really sweet to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me read this, and I will now tomorrow start The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Hey guys, it's about 9:30 at night. I'm actually about to go to bed, but today I started The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. First and foremost, this read is going by super fast so far. I think the writing style is super easy to get through. The chapters are short, so it just makes you like just flip through the pages a lot quicker and just continue on. My thoughts so far about the actual content of the book: I am thoroughly enjoying it so far, just because of the fact that we kind of literally know nothing about celebrities' lives for the most part, especially like their upbringing, the beginning stages of their fame, and just their thought process throughout all of this, like what they were thinking when everything was going on. So like the beginning stages of her fame, and also how she was kind of like a child actress, child performer, and how much of that impacted her later on in life. So even just learning about like where she grew up and like why she wanted to become famous, and like how even when she was under the age of 10, she was doing performances and like competitions and just working such long hours, long days, long weeks, like working throughout holidays. Like it's crazy how we don't realize how much child actors, child performers just go through just from the sheer amount of work that they're putting in. And it's crazy that in Hollywood kids are worked to literal exhaustion. It's insane, but it's quite eye-opening in my opinion. And also like she name drops a bunch of other kids who well, now like grown-up celebrities who were also child actors going through the somewhat same things as she was. So it's really crazy. I'm not even that far into the book. I'm probably like a little over 20% of the way through, and it's already so interesting and just like eye-opening, as I mentioned before. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna be reading for tonight. I'm gotta go to bed. I'm very tired and I have to get up for work at like 5:30. So yeah, I'm probably gonna finish this book in like 2-3 days, but it's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. And random side note, I just love how the cover is matte. Iris is here. Hello, Iris. Oh, you can see her like in the background. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. Hello friends, I have less than 100 pages left of The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and I just have to say, wow. I'm just kidding, that's not all I have to say, but wow. First of all, I think this is probably one of the first times, like in this video, since I read a memoir before this, but in my life, one of the first times that I've read a memoir before, and like one that I guess I wasn't forced to read in like middle or high school or something, but I just really enjoy the fact that not only is it someone's like real raw story, and obviously a memoir could definitely be biased because the person is talking about their own life and their perspective on their life, but it's also like a raw version of their own story that we've obviously never seen before, because in celebrities' lives we like don't really see anything behind the scenes and like what's going on in their mind, like in the background, like who is involved in what. And also the fact that because this is a nonfiction book and someone is literally just telling their story, they're not using like beautiful language and like, you know, like in a fantasy book it'd be like world building and stuff like that. It is like so simple and so easy to follow because it's literally just someone as if they were talking about their own lives. I'm honestly really enjoying that aspect of this book so far, and also it is so crazy how much we don't know about what is going on. Like I just got into the part about her conservatorship and how that all started, and it's crazy how long that entire thing went on and we literally had no idea that her parents, especially her dad, were literally just like controlling every single aspect of her life. It was insane. And like also just knowing her thoughts and like how deeply she thinks about certain things and like why she acted this way, why other people acted this way, and just like her whole perception and just experiencing everything in Hollywood and why people are the way they are, why things are the way that they are. It's so amazing that she has been able to convey that in this book. I'm shocked. And this book, towards the end, which is where I'm at, like I'm less than 100 pages left, it's absolutely heart-wrenching. Like, and it's making me think, like, I assume she went to therapy for a lot of these things, just like processing all of what she went through, all this information, this grief, like stemming from like childhood, and like her breaking it down into like why everything happened the way that it did. It just like makes me think that like, wow, like the power of therapy. And she doesn't even talk about therapy in this book. That is just my assumption, that she like talked to a therapist and like walked through everything and like dissected her brain and just everything. So I mean, even if she didn't, like wow, like the way that she has been able to, I guess, just explain everything is crazy. So as you can tell, I'm really enjoying this, so I am hoping to finish it tonight. So yeah, I will let you guys know how it goes, and yeah, so far so good. Also, another thing, obviously this is gonna be a lot more relatable to people my age and people older than me because we were alive and young and somewhat mentally conscious during this time. But her also talking about just like different points in her life when things happen. Like she was talking about the time when she was a judge on X Factor, and I'm like, I remember that so well. I could literally like imagine it in my head. And previously, for example, like when she was at the VMAs and she performed Slave for You and she had like that snake, like she talked about that moment, and also the sad but well-known images of her when she shaved her head when she was having like a mental breakdown because she was losing her kids basically to her ex-husband and stuff. It's like incredible like how well we as normal human beings who follow pop culture can just have those memories kind of ingrained in our minds because they're such like historical moments, I guess I would describe them in our pop culture history. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of like interesting that those like little bits are sprinkled here and there that are like well-known parts of our pop culture. I've officially finished The Woman in Me, which now means I am officially done reading the memoirs for a week-ish. So I honestly really liked this book in particular. I feel like if you at all are someone who is interested in pop culture, has followed pop culture, knows anything about Britney or what happened to her in the early 2000s or what you believe happened to her, I really recommend reading this just because of the insight that you get from everything from her perspective. And obviously it's biased because it's her perspective, but even just getting to hear her thoughts and her beliefs of everything and why it all happened and who was involved and what people did to her, I recommend. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and watch any of my other videos, please and thank you. I will see you guys next time.